Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan and I thought today I would give you guys an update about the morning ritual. That is what everybody who has freshwater or saltwater aquariums, or like me has both, must do, but also wants to do. I mean, it's part of the hobby to maintain and take care of your fish, and that means there's a morning ritual, usually an evening ritual, and stuff you do throughout the day. But this video in particular will focus on what I do pretty much every morning. Now, obviously, if I'm not here, I've had made contingencies to mitigate any issues, because I wouldn't be doing the morning ritual. And also, tanks, for the most part, if they're healthy, can tolerate several days of indifference without any consequence. But generally speaking, when you're home, and during pandemic everybody was home, you can really stay on top of this stuff. And if you don't like to do this stuff, then you shouldn't be in the hobby. So what is this stuff? This stuff, first of all, means checking the status quo of each and every one of your aquariums. This can be as much as putting your hands in there, netting stuff out, checking for disease on fish, or any conspicuous problems like low water indicating a leak. And usually that leak is not from the tank, God forbid. It's mostly because a filter is backed up, is dribbling over the side. Or sometimes what I found is there's a plug that creates a water channel where the water, because of its own tension, will attach to a plug and create its own natural form of siphon, which will draw water slowly, thank God, out of the tank and down the cord. This sounds more precarious than it is. I've never had an electrical issue as a result of it. I've never been shocked, but I do find low water, and that means I have an issue there, and I check into it and fix it. The fun part, obviously, is also the morning feeding. I give every tank something in the morning. For the freshwater fish, I mostly feed everybody the same type of food in the morning, which will vary day to day, but not in one day. In other words, I don't alternate different foods for different freshwater fish. Same as the saltwater tank. It'll get whatever it gets in the morning, and what I usually give in the morning is flakes and powders, because I have to go off to work. I don't have a lot of time to deal with frozen foods or live foods, and that I can do in the evening, and that's when I tend to do frozen foods and live foods being brine shrimp and baby brine shrimp, and sometimes black worms, which I do keep. And I also have a Daphne culture outside. All of that takes more time to capture and distribute, etc. So in the morning, it's all flake foods. I will give this saltwater tank behind me algae flakes. I should say spirulina flakes, and all the fish will eat that, and especially it's good for tangs and tetras. But all the fish do eat it, and that way I know if I'm not giving seaweed, and I can forget seaweed from time to time, they're getting the calcium, or excuse me, the vitamin C that seaweed, excuse my hand here, I'm gonna rest the right arm there as I'm holding this. I don't have a tripod. Maybe if I stretch a little bit, we'll be good. And freshwater food, I have about 4 different varieties that I interchange, different flakes and pellets, all the usual suspects. And since I have a lot of smallmouth fish, I often use fry food even for the adults. So Aquarium Co-op has a nice little spray bottle. You can just spritz right into the tank and move along pretty quickly, or I just grab a fingerful and grind once or twice of tetra flakes, etc., for all the freshwater fish. The other thing I might get into doing, if it's a weekend, I might just bite the bullet and do the awesome, intense 7, 8, 9 aquarium water change. Not for the saltwater tank. I don't do that. I have water brought in by a helper, and because it's many gallons of it, and I'm not going to be schlepping back and forth. But for freshwater tanks, I'll siphon into a bucket and then have another bucket of dechlorinated tap water with a little bit of waterborne fertilizers added, which is usually the fluval plant food and sometimes iron and sometimes the liquid carbon, depending on algae and stuff like that. But mostly dechlorinated water would suffice, and then I'll go through that, which is not the morning ritual. It's more of an intense ritual, but on the weekends it is the morning ritual. So a Saturday or Sunday, Friday I have my day off, so actually it's either Friday or Saturday. I might bite the bullet and do all my tanks, but certainly at least 50% of them. And then as far as water changes, as the spirit moves me, I do them more often than not. I hate the look of a tank that's sat for a week or two without any attention. They just get a little green, and the fish get more lethargic. A water change, if nothing else, it just invigorates the fish, can stimulate spawning, and makes the whole tank clearer and crisper. So it has many benefits. It's not just for maintaining longevity. It actually brings the tank back to life. And there's rarely a negative consequence. You can stir up the bottom. I've lost some shrimp and fish by stirring up the bottom so significantly during a cleaning that it releases nitrates into the water, ammonia from below the soil, and that is real. That is an issue. But most of your adult fish and creatures, it'll be fine. But once in a while, you might have unearthed something, a little something that's less than desirable, and you'll lose a few fish, and that's just, it's called realpolitik, I suppose. For the better of the tank, you might sacrifice a few specimens, but that hardly happens. Don't worry about it. So the morning ritual, that's what I do, and then the lights are never on in the morning, so I don't have to check and see how that's going. Everything is like this tank behind me in a natural daylight, room light setting, and it's a little bit more serene that way to do your work. When the lights are on and you're doing work, it's more disturbing to the fish. In general, for obvious reasons. So I hope this was helpful. That's what I do every morning and once a weekend. And if you're not into doing that sort of thing, you probably shouldn't be in this hobby, or stick to something real simple, guppies, goldfish in one tank, that sort of thing maybe, and do the best you can. But the hobby is about this work and this maintenance. And it's the slogan of my YouTube channel. I always keep my hands in the tank. All right, everybody, ciao for now.